just got a big piece of info for Ripple and therefore XRP. Everyone's just dismissing it, but I've got you covered. I want to break down what's just been announced and what document is going to be very, very important if you are an XRP holder. That's all by the side of massive building on the XRPL as well. We're going to break it all down for you in this video. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. So before we get into this document, I want to just double back on ETF. Now, I'm not going to spend the whole video talking about it, but last week for Bitcoin ETFs, we actually saw the second biggest week in history, $3.24 billion flowing into those US spot listed ETFs. Now, this should give you some confidence that when we finally see the Ripple or the XRP ETFs, we are going to see some pretty big inflows. Wall Street just has a desire to buy more assets, in particular with ETFs. That's why we're seeing such a demand for these ETFs to be pushed through. Yes, we need the government shutdown to kind of end, but this is obviously a big deal. But this isn't particularly what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about the Ripple National Trust Bank. We actually got the public document listed and everyone's just kind of looked at it and gone, all right, great, it's volume 1, doesn't really go into it. But there are some hidden things that many people are missing that could play out to be very favorable if you are an XRP holder. So let's walk through it. And let me tell you exactly what I'm looking at. So welcome to the Ripple National Trust Bank. Here is the document that's been brought out for everyone and anyone to see. Now, we are expecting volume 2, which is going to take us into the business model and everything else. But this one is pretty interesting. I'm not obviously going to go through the full document. I want to bring out some key points that you need to be aware of. And more importantly, what does it all mean? Well, the first thing we're going to look at is a little bit further down here. This is all just kind of giving you a bit of a summary. It is this: the intricacy charter and the federal deposit insurance application. So now you can see the type of charter. It's going to be a national bank. It is going to offer a trust. This is important here. What does a trust basically offer? It basically means that they will custody assets by their customers. They will be entrusted to hold it. Therefore, that allows them to custody crypto. It allows them to custody ETFs, stable coins, everything else. Not a lot of people aren't talking about this. This actually is a big deal. It will become a member bank, which I think is important. And there is even more bullish news to come with the rest of it. So you can see there the Ripple National Bank coming and the Ripple Labs home address. What's interesting is you don't see Brad Garlinghouse's name or anyone else on this one, other than Stuart Aldertree right at the very, very end. Now, as you come down here, it's going to show you a couple of little bits. This is obviously Public Notice A Volume 1. Volume 2 is where it's going to start getting pretty interesting. When we get the business plan, we get proposal forms of articles and everything else. This is going to get you the nuts and bolts of what's there. But I want to just talk about this. Stock benefit plan, financial projections. This is why the confidential exhibits are going to be critical. The fact of the matter is we now know they are there, including the organizational chart for Ripple Labs as well. This could all start to unveil a very, very interesting stance. Now, what's also worth noting is the word XRP or crypto is not in that public announcement. And I think that's because it's all in the confidential exhibit. We'll get that information to you as soon as it comes out, but I think you can see things are moving very quickly and this is going to be very, very soon to hit in the markets. Bullish indeed. But there's also been some building on the XRPL and I think it's all related. I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but there is now talks of a massive price rally for XRP, as there is every single week. But a new privacy upgrade has just gone live on the XRPL. And you may be thinking, "2bit, what has this got to do with anything?" Well, Ripple engineers, including DYOR and the team, say that move is designed to make XRPL a more secure and compliant platform for, guess what? Institutional use. And it's important to think about institutional use when we talk about things like the XRPL grants, as well as the coins and RWA that are all building on XRPL. Just to give you an example of some of these numbers that are going there, 87 organizations have now been part of the XRPL grants, which is a pretty big number. And they are issuing loads of these grants out to people to build on the XRPL. A lot of people think this isn't a big deal. $14.2 million has already been issued to over 117 funding rounds for that XRPL. Still think it's a quiet ecosystem? Absolutely not. When you start looking at particular coins that's on there, things like Sologenic, Cororium, Epic Chain, many others, then that's a big deal. And There is even building out for XRPL itself. XRP chat, XRPL stack on XRP, as well as many, many others, all starting to build out a very bullish ecosystem. And don't forget, there is even bigger things for RWA. Things like the BUIDL form, Ondo's short form US government bond fund, as well as Vert's 94th CRA and 4th trench line, as well as everything else. Vert Capital, by the way, $136 million already on the XRPL. So when people tell you that, well, nothing's happening with XRP and it's going to be going to zero and everyone's a bit bored of it, you need to understand what's behind those curtains. Pull the curtains back and you see a thriving ecosystem in which I think everybody soon wants to be a part of. And that's before we list those ETFs. So let me know what you think of all of this in the comments. Let me know what you think of that Ripple Bank as well, because man, everything feels like it's aligning and it feels like it's coming by the end of October. As always, don't forget, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. Do turn your notification bell on. So many of you don't have that turned on. You miss our content every day and our live streams. You simply cannot afford to do it in this bull market. So with that being said, I'm out of here. See you soon. Bye-bye.